Hi there folks, we're Travel with Johnny and Will. We're currently on board Ambassador Cruise Line ship Ambition. We're doing a 5-night cruise around the UK and Ireland. It's a short one, but this is our vlog all about day number 3, which we're arriving in the port of Falmouth in the south of England.
Yeah, so the day started as our other days have. So we just woke up and went straight down to the Buckingham restaurant on deck 5 to get our breakfast. Now today I went for something a wee bit different. I had the little overnight oats with the yogurt, and then I also had a little strawberry smoothie, and it was really delicious. And then I just had some pastries and fruit.
Yeah, I had my butcher muesli and then a full English, and I couldn't fault it again.
No.
And after breakfast then we decided to head up to the Borough Market, not for more food of course, but Will's parents wanted to see the wake of the ship, and the Borough Market, there's a little section out the back that you can eat and drink at, and that's the only place on Ambition that you can actually see the wake.
Well, the only place we know of. Maybe there's other little doors and places at the end of deck 7 or deck 8, but yeah.
Maybe yet to discover anywhere else.
Yet to discover.
Yeah. So it was a beautiful sunny day, and we were sort of walking back to the cabin. We came back, you got your bag and things ready, and you and your mum went for a little dip in the hot tubs.
Yeah, so we weren't actually docking in Falmouth today until 12 noon, so we still had the full morning on board. Yeah, and we went up to the hot tubs. So something sort of unexpected happened. We arrived at the hot tub. There was a lady already in the hot tub, and we thought, okay, that's fine. I went to then put my foot on, do you know in the hot tub there's like this ring around where if the water splashes it overflows into? I stepped on that and the entire thing broke. Like it was millions of pieces. Not like pretty big pieces, and it just like fell inside. So then we pulled it out, but we continued to use it. The hot tub was really nice, really powerful bubbles, and it was so warm and sunny up there. It did not feel like we were cruising about in England, really. Yeah, and we didn't tell anybody until we got out because we didn't want them like closing the hot tub and then like telling us to get out because it was just too nice.
So after Will wrecks the place and a quick dry off, we decided that we would go to look at the bargains in the shops. They were doing a deal where they were putting out a bargain table where everything was like £10 and things. Like if you bought 3 things, you got 1 free. And we also wanted to check out if they had any branded items. Will bought a lovely Ambassador Cruise Line's fleece. We'll stick my footage of you doing a little twirl here. And then there was alcohol, there's cigarettes and tobacco and things like that as well available. There's not a huge selection of shops. Like there's only about
there's
sort of
like
2 to 3 main shops.
The convenience store part, like that's half the size of this room, and then there's obviously like the clothing, handbags, jewellery, that sort of stuff, and then the Ambassador branded items.
We would say, however, is if you do want to buy cigarettes or alcohol, there is some great bargains. There's like vodka is like priced at 4 bottles for £45
for litre bottles
of vodka. So and there seems to be good offers on tobacco and cigarettes and things too. And they do tell you what your allowance is for coming home. So staff are really helpful.
So at this point we were back in our cabin and we were literally just like looking out, and the sailing to Falmouth itself was really like sort of taking me back a wee bit because it was bright blue skies and it's so like hilly and stuff and little islands, and it's just really, really pretty. And we actually saw Pendennis Castle on the way in. I'll insert the footage right here, which one of the bars on board is actually named after.
Yeah, quite a lot of marine traffic. There's a lot of people out in little boats and sailing boats and things like that. And at one point, I think Captain was sounding the horn, because we heard the horn going like, you know, obviously if you hear it going once, that's grand. Then it was like once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And I thought, oh God, are we going to have like abandoned ship here? Is this going to still be like, 6 short blasts and 1 long one? Lucky for us, we didn't. But yeah, we pulled alongside about lunchtime, about 12 o'clock. And we noticed that we actually had to be, that there was a tugboat actually attached to the back of the ship, and it was sort of helping to bring us in. We're not sure why that was, but anyway.
Not sure. Hopefully we'll find out.
But yeah, beautiful. It looks like a beautiful place. So we went quickly in for something to eat.
Yeah, and you wanted to try the grill up by the pool deck. It's called Al Fresco Grill.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it like?
Bit disappointing. So normally like a poolside grill that you see is like burgers, hot dogs, chicken wings or chicken dippers or whatever.
Yeah, and chips.
And maybe like little salads or little, So they seemed to change the menu slightly. So they had two pizzas. There was like a veggie one, a cheese one. They had potato wedges, and then they had these little chicken
tandoori
wraps,
yeah.
Which were quite tiny.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
I had 2 of them and they were nice.
They were nice. The wedges were nice. The pizza was all right.
Yeah.
But maybe it was just that because I wanted to go to the grill, because obviously we try and experience as many as the food places brings on board, for doing these videos. And I think it was because I knew we was going there. I probably had myself psyched up that I wanted a burger and chips, and then when I didn't get a burger and chips, maybe that's what disappointed me. Don't know, but the food was all right.
But I think for a poolside grill not to offer like a burger, a hot dog, and chip, that is a bit disappointing. Like what? Why does it have to be pizza? And the way they put it in that big iron thing and cover it with a lid, a little bit different than a normal poolside grill.
Yeah, and we've done 21 cruises now, and it's the first we've sort of seen like it, but bit disappointing. But anyway, we got fed. It was fine. As we were a bit disappointed with our lunch offerings, we decided to make a quick dash into the Borough Market buffet to sneak out a little dessert. And there was like an almond bread and butter pudding with custard.
Did you have some too?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was good. So that sort of made up for the disappointment.
Although seeing the chicken tenders in there, I just sort of wish we just went there for lunch. But anyway.
Such is life. As we've been cleared to leave the ship, we also knew that we weren't leaving tonight until after 11, so there wasn't really a mad dash to get off the ship. So I think we left it till around 2 o'clock-ish before leaving. The gangway is located on deck 6, and that meant that the gangway was really steep. I've seen most people sort of struggling with it. My poor mother and aunt really did struggle coming down the gangway, and obviously then the same was worse coming back.
Yeah.
Now coming down, there was staff that did help in terms of bringing down the walking aids, and then obviously Mum could just hold on to the railings and things like that with me in front of her, cheering her on. But it was. Obviously, there's nothing they can do about it. It must be due with the tides or something like that. Yeah,
and then after that, there was a free shuttle bus at the port of Falmouth. It's about 100 metres to walk from the gangway. And then along that way, there was all these little helpful guides in blue shirts. So, and they were actually really helpful. And one of them was on the shuttle bus and like told us like little hints and tips about what to visit in terms of like going to that library. There was a little free art gallery, so yeah, it was really helpful.
Yeah, I think whenever we were getting off the bus as well, she was sort of saying if you want to go that way, you'll go to the marina, and if you want to go that way, you'll go to the beaches and things. So yeah, it was useful. There is the place where you get the shuttle bus. They do have a couple of little seats set out. So if you have to queue and you can't stand for a long period, there is somewhere for you to sit.
It was very hot as well. To the point that when we got on the bus, that was even hotter than outside. So we were like, when can we get off the bus? But luckily, it's literally only a 5-minute, and it's just because that part of the port is a little bit industrial. It's just to get you out, and that's it really. But actually, because it was so hot, it it was really helpful, and really I'm really happy we had it.
Yeah, it drops you off in this car park, which if you want you can then just sort of walk down to, there's a little marina area, there's lots of bars and restaurants and things like that. We actually stopped in one of the bars because we were so warm for nice cool drinks, and a few, your mum and dad and all had peached iced tea. I had a lovely Pim's colour that came with all the right stuff in it. It was so delicious.
That was a lovely little place, yeah. And we just sat there because it was so quiet. It was sheltered, but also had a little bit of a breeze. And we just needed to cool down because we had been, obviously we'd walked down the ramp, we'd stood out waiting for the bus, we'd in the hot bus. And then, so it was
But it was really nice just sitting there watching the world go by, and obviously you could see the marina, you could see the ship.
Still see the ship, yeah.
And just, it was nice sort of sitting people watching.
Definitely, yeah.
After that, we just sort of took a brief dander. There isn't another marina, and we were headed in that direction, but we didn't make it that far. But we just sort of walked up the main sort of street then. There's a few little shops, little gift shops, shoe shops, jewellery, jewellers, fish and chips. There's ice cream parlours. There's plenty to go in, as well. There was actually a music shop that sold like cassettes, CDs, and records.
That too, yeah.
And the only thing is I would have nothing to play them on now, but yeah, lots of lovely wee shops just to go and explore. We actually called into one which had all these gifts from Cornwall. So we bought a few presents for the lady who's minding our 2 pups.
We also bought fishy dog treats.
Yes.
So that will be interesting.
Yeah, you're going to feed them to the dogs because I don't like the smell of fish. But yeah, and the guy that owned the wee shop and worked in it, he was super friendly, and I think he was just sort of glad that the ship was nearly here, and that people
there didn't seem to be too many customers from our ship with him. So it was just nice, and you got a little sample of some of the gins that were locally produced, and then we did end up buying some of those. So one thing we would say about Falmouth and that main shopping street is that it was very uneven, like the curbs, the pavers.
On one side of the street, the footpath was tiny.
Yeah, and then there was traffic allowed down this street, even though the people walked in the middle of the road. And then also there was streets coming down toward this road, and then down again to the sea. So not the best for people with limited mobility. And I think by the end of it, your mum was
because a lot of the streets are sort of
tired.
cobbled as well. She was sort of tired, and it's obviously if you're walking with a walking aid, it's difficult to manoeuvre those things over cobbled streets and stones. So I think she was glad to see the bus whenever we were coming back.
So yeah, we just nipped into one of the Tesco Expresses just to grab some items, and then we made our way back to the bus. The bus drops you off at it's like a big triangle, like pyramid monument thing. I'll put the location in for you now, just so you know. But you really couldn't get lost because you're not going that far, and at all times you can nearly see the ship.
Yeah.
So no matter what, like, you're not going to get lost, and don't worry about that.
There are ship excursions to the likes of the Eden Project, and there's ones that sort of does like sightseeing around Cornwall and Land's End. But again, we just sort of wanted to get off. I'm sort of glad we didn't go on an excursion, because if we had been stuck on a bus that was so warm, that wouldn't have been enjoyable. So we were happy just to explore the local area ourselves that day. But I have to say, from looking at the excursion prices, they're not overly expensive. Like, they are quite reasonably priced. So if you do prefer to do something as in a tour, definitely go down and visit Destination Experiences.
So yeah, we got back to the ship, and upon arrival to our cabin, there was a little guy with a trolley, and he gave us these little afternoon Cornish pasties, which is like a real surprise.
So yeah, it's like you get little treats delivered to your cabin if you're a sweet guest, which we didn't realise whenever we were booking either. So it's been quite nice getting these little treats.
We had
every
chocolates yesterday, and then we had the Cornish pasties on day 3,
So time to get ready for dinner, and we headed back down to our usual restaurant, the Buckingham, to see our waiter at our usual table, and it was good to see the menu tonight. There was a few options that we like the look of. We'll put the menu on screen now, and if you want to, tell us in the comments below what you would have. So for an appetizer, Will and I both had the Punjabi potato samosa.
Gosh, it was so delicious.
Yeah.
And that it came with a tomato type sauce, and then there was the mango chutney, and oh my gosh, just the two together was yummy.
And then we both had then the potato and leek soup,
Yeah,
which again was delicious.
so good.
And then what did you have for main?
I had the fettuccine alfredo, which was like a flat pasta, cheese sauce, peas, and ham.
And I
Really
basically
nice.
had then the chicken breast parmo, which basically was chicken breast and breaded
Like a breaded chicken breast.
with lovely cheese, and it was divine.
Yeah, and all the food's been so good so far. We haven't faulted it. We can't fault anything about the food
No.
at all.
Dessert then I had the macadamia mud pie, which was recommended by our waiter, because I couldn't really pick between that and red velvet cake, but he made the right choice for me.
I had the ice cream sundae, which was a scoop of chocolate, a scoop of vanilla, and a metal
Silver dish.
thing. Yeah,
It was a bit disappointing.
yeah. I thought it was going to come in like a tall glass of syrup and wafer.
That's
but
like a
then-
Knickerbocker glory, though.
I know.
maybe,
Anyway,
but
the ice cream was nice, but the description let it down.
yeah. So we had some tea and coffee then before heading to the Purple Turtle.
It's the purple turtle.
The Purple Turtle, which is the bar next to the Palladium Theatre.
Yes.
We sat there for about 45 minutes having a couple of drinks. And then we made our way into the theatre then, because as we've said in a previous vlog, people go into the theatre super early to get seats.
So early.
And we can understand why, because the seating in the theatre is not fantastic.
It's bench seating with a table, and then seats in front of
In
the
front
bench
of
seating.
that.
So it goes bench seating, seats, bench seating, seats. So if you sit in a bench, you're blocked by the people that are sitting in the seats.
Yeah.
If there's someone in those seats.
And realistically, those critters
Yeah.
that are going an hour beforehand are sitting on the bench seats only then for like 55 minutes later, somebody to come in, sit and block their view.
True.
Oh, I think, Ambassador, you really need to sort this theatre out. It just...
I don't think it. Well, for me, I'm obviously tall, so I have a tall back. I'm never going to have an issue seeing over someone's head. But yes, if
Yeah.
someone large is in front of you, if I was in
Plus,
front of people,
Yeah, if you couldn't get
it
a
would be
bench
very
seat-
annoying.
Yeah, if you couldn't get a bench seat and you want to see the show, you're
Yeah.
going to sit in one of those seats, and the poor critter behind you, like me, wouldn't be able to see over your head.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ambassador needs to look at this. It's just not right. So tonight's show was called The Chronicles of the Pirate King.
Yes.
And again, we can't show you anything because we can't film. But it was a brilliant show. It had a good story to it, very simple and easy to follow. The cast of singers and dancers were amazing. There's a fight scene which was brilliantly choreographed. There's a zip wire bit and everything. It's really good.
And Captain Sparrow Jack.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Not the other way. Sparrow Jack.
Sparrow Jack. I think what I liked about it was the little nuances that they had and little references that they made to other movies, shows, and then about the theatre as well. So, for example, they were talking about, was it Purple Turtle Island? And
Yeah,
things like that. And they were talking about, and then obviously, at the end, they raise their flag and there's purple on it, like Ambassador. So I really enjoyed those little...
Yeah, and then when the narrator was like, oh, and the man sailed the seas with great ambition.
I know, yeah.
It was all linked.
Yeah. Really well
honestly,
thought out.
the shows have been really different to what I think. It's not just about there is the musical numbers, but there's been much more of a story within each of these shows, and I've really, really enjoyed them. Yeah.
Yeah. So after tonight's show, we decided that we were going to have an early night. After a couple of early mornings, we're starting to tell on us. So we just grabbed a couple of drinks before heading back to our cabin.
So that's a recap of our day 3 on board Ambassador Ambition, docked at Falmouth. We really hope you've liked this video. If you have, please give us a thumbs up down below. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss out on our next video in this series. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.